Hey guys, and welcome to another episode. Today in this video, I'm gonna show you the most contaminated paint I've ever seen. Well, actually that I've ever had to deal with. So behind me is one of my friends' Infinity G35s. Now he picked it up not too long ago, and if you can tell already from the hood, the paint's not looking the greatest. So he brought it to me expecting me to detail the car, and I'm like, yeah, no problem, let me see what I can do. Now I didn't go ahead beforehand to take a look at the paint to see how bad it was. So I just expected it, you know what, it's probably not that bad, it's my friend's car, he probably wouldn't pick up something that's too bad. Boy, was I wrong. So I just went ahead and gave the entire car a wash. Now I started to clay the paint, and I want to show you something absolutely disgusting. So if you guys know a thing or two about detailing, you're gonna know that before you go ahead and say polish the vehicle and get rid of any paint imperfections, you first need to go ahead and wash the car and then clay the vehicle with a piece of clay. Now that's what I have right here. So what you do is you spray a lubricant over the paint, grab the piece of clay, rub it over the paint until all the surface contaminants come off. So when you regularly just go ahead and wash the car, you're not gonna be picking up all those contaminants that are on the paint that are very stuck to it. So I already went ahead and clayed this side of the vehicle, and if you can hear the paint, you're not hearing anything other than my glove. Okay, now I'm gonna bring you over here to this side. So if you can see like these scratches, this is from the clay, okay? And this means that I removed the contaminants from this section. Now I'm gonna have to go ahead and polish it up and remove all these scratches, which I already knew. However, on this side, check this out, okay? So this is the clean side. Listen to my hand while I move it across the paint. So this entire section right here, I haven't clayed, and you can tell how horrible this is. So when you hear something, when you rub your hand over the paint, that means that there's imperfections on the paint that need to be removed. And then over here, not much. So I need to go ahead and clay the entire vehicle, and I want to show you how disgusting the piece of clay is going to get after I start claying. So I'm going to quickly outline how you would essentially clay the vehicle. So you grab your piece of clay and get your hand a little wet. So what I have right here is essentially a lubricant that I'm gonna be spraying over the panel and in my hands so that the piece of clay can slide over the paint. Now, when you clay the vehicle and you remove contaminants, you're gonna be embedding scratches in the paint. Now that's completely normal, and that's just one of the steps that you're gonna have to do before you polish the car. So if you're not gonna polish the car, don't go ahead and clay it, because if you go ahead and clay it and you're not gonna polish it, the car is gonna probably look even worse than before. It is gonna be contaminant free, however, it's not gonna look the greatest from a ways. So what I'm gonna do is gonna be spraying a little bit of lubricant over the panel, making this piece flat, and then sliding it over the panel, okay? Now see how this is all blue? Watch this. Did you notice how I initially started off and I could hear something when I glide the piece of clay over the paint? Now you can't. Okay, that means that the surface contaminants in this little section that I cleaned up are imperfection free, okay? So you remember how this was blue? Watch this. Look how gross that is. And if you take a note, look at this, look at the lubricant that's on the panel that's just sliding off. It's filled with dirt. Look how gross that is. If you guys have a worse panel or a worse car, you know, definitely tag me in it on Instagram, throw it down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your stories. So I'm gonna have to repeat this procedure to the entire car. Now when the piece of clay gets this bad, I'm gonna have to fold it, twist it, and just get it so that whenever I flatten out the piece of clay, I have a clean section that isn't covered in dirt, like that. So you grab this, spray it over the panel, and just go to town. Now this procedure does work. It might be a little time consuming, but the results are gonna speak for themselves afterwards. Look at that. Look at how gross that is. Now I'm gonna repeat this procedure to my entire vehicle that I have right here until I don't hear a single thing when you glide the piece of clay over your panel. So hear this? It should sound more like this once you're done. Now, in order to make your paint look nice and shiny and remove all these scratches, the claying procedure is a must. If you can grab your hand, put it on the panel, and you hear something when you glide it across. Now, because we clayed this entire piece, we don't have to do any more to this. So over here, and even over here. So you shouldn't be able to hear anything once you grab your hand and glide it over the paint. Now you can use a black latex glove like this, you can use a blue one, you can use a Ziploc bag, even the back of your hand without a glove on it. You want to feel and hear any kind of imperfection on the panel. Now, it's very important to take that off. Now you're probably thinking, why? Why do you need to take all that little stuff off the paint? Well, there's one main reason for it, and that is when you're polishing the panel. So say I want to go ahead and remove all the scratches on this panel. If any of those little things come up from the paint while I'm polishing it, say it's like a very tiny rock or dirt or whatever it is. Say that little piece of dirt is coming up, came off the panel, and now it's embedded inside my pad. Now my pad that I'm using is there to polish the car, and all that it is a very soft foam or a very soft fabric with sort of polishing fluid with it. Now, if that little piece of dirt, say that branch, rock, whatever it is, if that gets embedded in that pad, and then you start polishing the entire car, guess what you're gonna see all across your paint wherever you start polishing? That's right, you're gonna see that little scratch, that little rock, essentially go all the way across your panel until the entire panel looks like crap. So that's why it's very important to take care of this stuff beforehand. So in order to make it look great, you gotta make it look like crap, just like this. Now, don't freak out, this is normal. So I'm gonna have to go ahead and polish out this entire panel using my Meguiar's cutting pad, and then follow it up with my Meguiar's finishing pad. Now, in order to clean this, I'm gonna use my Roops LHR 15ES. It's a 15mm dual action polisher. So that means that the throw of my pad is 15 millimeters. That's one of the best polishers on the market, and it's gonna give your paint an absolutely incredible finish. You can give that tool to anyone, and it's a very friendly, easy to use, and professional finishing product. So I'm gonna do that to my entire hood, and I'm gonna show you the results. So here we go, guys. This is the car after it's been polished. Now I still need to go over it once with a microfiber just to pick up any dust. And then next up comes the ceramic coat. So you can see how awesome the paint looks. Now there's a couple spots, I don't know if you saw on the roof, there's a couple rust spots. There's not really much I can do about that, but check this out. Not bad, huh? So here we go, here's the car. Looking good. Now I'll bring you guys to the front and show you the hood, because this is the part that was really bad. So after claying it, after polishing it, you hear that? Nothing. Now, of course, this car is a 2003, and just because it's a 2003 doesn't mean that it's gotta have paint that looks like it's that old. You know, anywhere you look at the car, the paint looks unreal. And the best part is it's only gonna look better after I install some of the ceramic coat on the paint. Wait a second. What am I looking at? Yeah, that's right. You guys are checking out the reflection in the car. Now, I just finished up detailing this thing. The paint was cleaned, it was clayed, it was compounded, it was polished, it was isopropyl alcohol bath, and then I finally went over the entire thing with Ceramic Pro. Now, the entire car is clean as hell, as you guys just saw. The reflection out of this is just ridiculous. So that was a nice clean two-door black car, and if we take a look at the reflection on my car, not so nice. That's winter for you. That's essentially how it started, and this is how it's gonna end. So the entire car is cleaned up, it's looking awesome. I cleaned up almost everything on the outside. So wheels, tires, paint in particular. Now, one thing that I really would have liked to work on more is the headlights. The headlights aren't looking the greatest. Now, I either want to recommend to the owner to get new ones or, you know, retrofit them, take care of them, but whatever you do, just take care of that ugly faded plastic, because that doesn't look that nice. Because the car is all nice and shiny and polished, the headlights is the first thing to stand out. If you guys want to pick up any of the stuff that I used today, whether it be the clay bar kit, that I initially used in the beginning of this video to demonstrate how badly contaminated this paint is. You guys can check the description box. Now, when I was detailing, I didn't really go into much detail in the explanation of it and the process. However, if you want to see how to detail your car, how to polish it and all that stuff, I'll have a link in the description box, and I'll have a link in the outro, so you guys can check that out if you want. Now, a side note, I found that when I was detailing this car, I was using, well, I initially started off to use Meguiar's a microfiber cutting pad. Worked good, you know, it did a fairly good job, it cut the paint, but I was like, okay, this is taking forever. So I switched up to a Meguiar's foam cutting pad, and it did a much better job at cutting down the paint and cleaning it up. Just, you know, my little 2 cents, I use the exact same Meguiar's M205 for the finish and the M105 for the compound. Yeah, and that's how it goes. If you guys have any questions regarding the video, throw them down in the comment section below. And as always, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.